used to believe that checking my phone for just a second would help me stay on top of everything. But it turns out that those seconds added up to hours, and my kids noticed before I did. Let me show you how I fixed that. Hi, I'm Catherine Lizardo. I'm a thriving ADHD mompreneur and lawyer. Pro tip, you can watch this video at 1.5x speed to save you time. In the last video, we talked about the eliminate step. Eliminate your friction and your distractions from your phone. Now we're going to talk about the execute part of the three-step action formula. Let's talk about how to execute with your phone with ease and clarity. So now you can be productive and save at least 3 hours a day in using your phone. Let's get started. So the first step is to add a calendar widget to your home screen and the bottom apps. This is what I mean. This is my home screen and this is the calendar widget. I also have a calendar app on the bottom four so that whenever I'm swiping, I can still see my calendar. Because we are time blind with our ADHD brain, we have to have the date and whatever we need to do right there in front of us. Out of sight is out of mind for our ADHD brain. So if I open my home screen and the first thing I see is my Google Calendar and telling me that I'm supposed to be on an evening protocol right now, then I could go ahead and do that right now because I'm recording. I'm obviously not doing my evening protocol, but normally in evenings, I would be doing my evening protocol right now. Also, in terms of adding the widget is really easy. And that is if I press and hold on the screen right here, everything starts wiggling. If I press the edit and it says add widget, customize or edit pages. If I press add widget, we can add it. But since I already have the Google Calendar widget right here, that's why you don't see it. And once I add the Google Calendar widget, I press done. There you go. So now it's there. I have a separate video about how I set up my Google Calendar so that it helps me be productive as well. So that video plus this video will really complement each other. So I highly recommend watching that video as well. The second step is to add the screen time widget to the second page of the screen. This is what I mean. On the second page of my screen is my screen time widget. That's the widget on the iPhone that tells you how long you've been on your phone the whole day. And today is extraordinarily high for me because it's spring break and so I'm using my phone with my kids a lot. So today I've been on the phone for 8 hours and 1 minute. It even has a graph that shows you your peak times of using it and what you were doing. And it tells you which apps you were using. So right here it says I used my phone 57 minutes on Roblox because I was playing with my kids used with Roblox as well. So it's another quality time for us. And they think it's really cool that mom knows how to use Roblox and know their lingo. And then I've used 21 minutes on my Google Doc, and then 9 minutes on WhatsApp, and 6 minutes on this other app. So it shows me right here what I've used and how much I've used them. Again, because as ADHD are time blind, and so just the second I'm going to check my phone ends up being hours and hours and hours. This is a good way for us to see and go, oh gosh, I've been on YouTube for a while. How long has that been? Was that like 30 minutes? And then you look at here and you see the YouTube icon there and you've been on YouTube for 2 hours. So it helps you understand how long you've been there because we don't feel the passage of time being time blind. The next step is to add the Google Drive widget to the third page of the screen. So the third page of my screen is my Google Drive widget. I use Google Drive because, again, it's a cross-platform app so that I can use it with whatever device I have. So if I'm using my laptop and I have to go to a dental appointment for my kiddos, and I'm just waiting at the dental office for our appointment, I can use my phone and access all my Google Docs, Google Sheets, whatever I need, and my Google Drive is right there. I can upload easily. I can take a picture and upload in my drive and just search whatever document I need. Very efficient. The next step I have is to add the ChatGPT widget to the fourth page of the screen. So on my fourth page, I have the ChatGPT widget. And again, just as a reminder, adding the widgets are very easy, which is press and hold the screen, then everything starts wiggling. And then if you click on edit, that's where it says add widget. If you click on that, you're going to see the ChatGPT widget if you've already downloaded ChatGPT on your phone. So make sure you downloaded the app first and then go and add that widget. Now I'm going to press done so I can show you. So I have ChatGPT here that I can easily access. I have used ChatGPT for many things to make me more productive. I have a separate video about my outlook about ChatGPT and how that changed after I had a very intimate conversation with a founder of a big AI company. So go ahead and check that out, but I have it here because I use AI a lot. Now, right here, I just wanted to touch base as to why I have photos and calendar here. That's because the calendar I place on top of my Google Calendar, so I can access both calendar fast. Also, the photos is here, so I can access it after I take a video and take pictures. So I go ahead and do that. The next step is to change the settings for calls and texts from your kids, spouse, partner, and school to still go through with the do not disturb mode. I've heard moms say they do not want to put their phone on the do not disturb mode because they want important calls to go through, such as from the school if there's an emergency. You can actually set your phone so that those calls go through even if your phone is in that mode of do not disturb. Let me show you real quickly how to set that up. What you do is you swipe from the upper right going diagonal, and now you see sleep right there. When I press on that, that's where the other options come out, and this is the do not disturb mode. If you click those three dots right here, that's where the setting pops up, and you click on the setting. That's where the do not disturb setting comes up. And here you can see it says allow notification. It says notifications from selected people and apps will be allowed. All others will be silenced. So I have 3 people that I'm allowing. Those are my husband, my son, and S for school. So if there's a school emergency, the school call or text or alert will come in. I have no apps that I want to be allowed to notify me. Besides, I also silence all the notification when we were doing the eliminate part. So that's how you do that. This intelligent breakthrough and silencing, it's about AI, and I turned that on. But what happened was it's such a new feature that spam calls, scam likely was still going through my phone. So I turned it off. Once they have that feature and bug fixed, then I'll probably turn it on. So, and then you go back and click focus and you're done. So whenever you hit the do not disturb mode, rest assured that the emergency calls, important calls from the important people you allowed will come through. So the next step is to turn on the do not disturb mode before starting work. So before starting work, take your phone, put it in the do not disturb mode like I showed you earlier, go to the sleep, and let's say it's the morning, and then just turn on the do not disturb by clicking on do not disturb. Now it's on. But since we set up the notifications, those 3 people, my husband, my kid, and the school, can still be allowed to call and text me when they need me. And then you turn it off by just pressing it again. You're all done. Simple. The next step is to arrange apps based on your point of performance, or POP as my acronym is. For example, my home screen apps, my photos, and the calendar apps. Let's talk about point of performance. That's actually a term that was coined by an ADHD expert. His name is Dr. Russell Barkley. He is well-known ADHD expert. And so, point of performance, he defined it as the point or where you are performing an action. That's where you need to focus and figure out how to maximize your performance there. What that means is this. For example, in my home screen, I have my clock, my maps, and my Audible there. There's a reason why, because my home screen is my point of performance when I have an appointment. So let's say I turn on my phone and then I see that it says here, instead of evening protocol, it says meet Joe at the coffee shop at 2 a.m. So what I do is I see that right away as soon as I open my phone, and then I've set up an alarm in my clock the night before, and I have a separate video about my evening routine that you can go ahead and watch. But I set up an alarm here that says that at 2 o'clock I have an appointment to meet Joe at the coffee shop. But I actually set the alarm enough time to allow for my travel time. So if it's at 2 o'clock, my alarm is set at 1:30 so that I will leave the house at 1:30. Sometimes I even set a second alarm at 1 o'clock so that I will get ready at 1 o'clock, and then another alarm will ring at 1:30 so that I know I have to leave at 1:30 so I can make it to our 2 o'clock coffee meeting. And then I have my Maps app because I can enter the location of the place that we're meeting, the cafe. And even if I've been at that coffee shop for hundreds of times, I will still use my map so that I have navigation step by step telling me, because I don't know about you ADHD moms, but for me, when I'm driving, sometimes or oftentimes I miss my exit because I'm thinking of something else. My brain is distracted. But if I have the app, then I get reminded, turn right at the next sign. And so I won't miss my appointment or be late because I got lost. And then I have the Audible here because I like reading by listening to my books on Audible while I'm driving. One time I read 30 books in 1 year because I was reading 5 minutes at a time as I would be driving, and that's how I get all my information as well about ADHD. So this is how my point of performance is set up, because on my home screen is where I have my clock, my map, and my Audible. My apps are, these three apps are set according to my point of performance, including my Google Calendar widget. That's what it means about arranging your apps based on your point of performance. If you do this, then it maximizes your productivity. It is a game changer for me, so give it a try and see if it will be a game changer for you as well, which I feel will highly likely be. The next step I recommend is to search apps instead of swiping when looking for them. Be intentional with your use of your phone and app. What I mean is, instead of swiping and looking for whatever app you need, instead, when you pick up your phone and turn it on and it's on your home screen, you swipe down so that the search is there. And let's say you need to check your email. You don't even see where my mail is. So I just press mail, and now there's my mail. So that's how I get to my apps. And let's say I really need to check my Instagram because I want to see how my post is working. So I just go and press Instagram, and there's Instagram. But unless I do that, it won't show up. And if I need to see school, school's there. So by using the search apps as opposed to swiping it, then you're intentional with being productive whenever you pick up your phone, as opposed to getting distracted by any of the other apps that you might come across and go, oh, let me check my Slack real quickly, or my school, or my messages. So there you go. So these were the steps I took to set up my phone so that I can execute with ease and clarity and become very productive and save 3 hours a day at least. Imagine what you can do with 3 hours a day saved. Next, I'm going to show you the optional features that you can use. Again, it's optional, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about that real briefly. First optional item is to train people you don't respond to text ASAP as soon as possible, especially when driving. Safety first. I'm an attorney, a lawyer, a personal injury lawyer, so I've seen a lot of people die, get seriously injured from texting and driving. It's real. The statistics are there, research have been done. So safety first. Also, I train people that I don't immediately respond to their texts because before, every time I hear the ding or I see the number of texts I have on my phone, I immediately press on my text app and then respond to them. It's almost like I want to respond instantly, like an auto response, right? Auto text response. But then I realized that it was causing me a lot of anxiety, and those few seconds of me responding right away, even if it took me like 2 seconds to respond, really adds up and pulls away from my productivity if I'm doing something. That's why I put my phone in the do not disturb mode. So now my family and friends know that I don't immediately respond to text messages. And I'll have a sample of what you can say to them in a little bit. Another thing that's optional that I did though is to leave group texts and chats. So I left group texts and chats, and this is what I told my family and friends. I said, "Hi, I'm trying something new to be productive. I'm leaving conversations and group chats so they don't think I'm only leaving that group chat. I'm also checking my messages in certain number of times a day and when. I check my messages around lunchtime and at night. Thank you for helping me thrive in life and business." By telling them that in person or by text or by phone call, I don't want to hurt their feelings by leaving the group text. Like I left mom group text or even family text. I'm Filipino, so we have extended families. Our family group text literally had 16 people in it. And so after an hour, I would have like 96 messages one time with a glaring red dot next to my text messages. And everyone was just chiming in about, let's say, a new shirt someone bought or very delicious food that they just ate. Not that I don't care, I really care, but it was making me anxious to see that 96 messages, and also that it was pulling me away from being productive and thriving in my life and business. So by explaining that to them, they were more understanding. I did get pushback, a lot of pushback at the beginning, but eventually they got over it and now they understand why I'm doing it. Start using apps that can disable apps when you shouldn't be using them, like Opal, for example. I personally haven't used Opal. You actually have to pay for it. And for me, I haven't used it yet. I haven't had a chance, but I've heard great things about it. For example, at 10 p.m., you shouldn't be scrolling on your Instagram. Then you can turn on Opal and set it up so that by 10 p.m., all your social media apps will not be accessible on your phone. So it's really helped in terms of time blindness to helping with that. So we usually don't know it's 10 o'clock already. We think it's still like 7 or early. So this is a way for you, if you want to use Opal, to go ahead and help you remember what time is it and that it's time for bedtime, or it's not time for you to be checking your social media, but it's actually time for you to be working on your business. So go ahead and check Opal if that is something that might help you. So this is the three-step action formula that I used for my phone setup so I can be productive, and how I fixed my phone addiction and got my time back, got 3 hours back each day. This is a Google Doc, which is part of the resources inside our classroom, and download that or print that and you can check off as you're setting up your phone. I'll see you in the next video and I appreciate you.